Hi guys, my name is Rohoma, and today I'll start off by getting your confession. So how many people in this room, by a show of hands, have ever unfriended someone on Facebook? Wow, that's a lot more hands than I anticipated. So yeah, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to find out why this is even a thing. So I've had my own fair share of social media rejections. So sometimes you add people on Facebook and you see them every day and you say hi to them and they don't add you back, which leads you to think about all these insecure questions like, did they miss the notification? Do they not remember me? Do I smell bad? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with me? Am I a stalker? And all these questions are horrible. You don't want to be thinking about this. And what I want to do today is find out why and really get to the root of the problem so that this doesn't happen. So the root of the problem seems to lie in the difference between in-person interactions versus online interactions. So in-person interactions, while I'm talking to you, words make up only 7% of my message. The rest of my message is in my eyes, it's in my hands, it's in my legs, it's in the way I move around, and all those other physical cues. Once you go on Facebook, these physical cues are gone. All you have are those limited, adorable emojis. You have those 3 dots, which God knows what's coming towards you, and the scene sign. So you really don't know what's happening, and things can be really ambiguous. All you have are this. So another common problem that seems to be within social media is that people don't realize who they have on Facebook. So there was a study done by Bernstein where he asked individuals to identify who saw their Facebook status. And what happened is individuals only identified 27% of the people who saw their status. Why is this? It's because they only judged how many people saw it based on the likes, the reactions, and the shares they got. However, a bunch of people on your Facebook just scroll by and don't really look or react or just kind of ignore what you're posting. So that is your invisible audience. All you're seeing is the tip of the iceberg. And you're catering your message to that tip of the iceberg and forgetting about all those other people below. So this leads to this idea that researchers like to call context collapse. So if your Facebook is anything like mine, you might have your second grade nemesis, you might have your best friends, you might have your family, or even your professor. And the problem is that the statuses you post, the pictures you're putting up, are all just one message, and it's the same. It's not really catered to each individual audience, which leads to the idea of context collapse, where you're treating all these different categories as one. And when you treat them as one, the people who are your invisible audience, they don't seem to understand what you're saying, and they sometimes get confused, and they get upset sometimes as well. So research shows that a huge portion of your invisible audience is your high school friends. So your high school friends tend to grow up, and then you all move away, you all do your own thing, and your opinions start to change. So research shows that high school friends like to delete people who have strong opinions, who have political views, or post too much. And so your relationship can go very quickly from we're all in this together to we don't talk anymore. So why is it that your high school friends find you so socially unattractive? Well, we can take these 4 factors into account. These are the same 4 factors that show how attractive or how much people find you attractive. So the first factor is familiarity. How often you see the person, how familiar you are with their face. So what happens with your high school friends is you saw them before you hit puberty. So now when they see you, you look really different. You're not familiar anymore, so you're socially unattractive. The second factor is proximity. So proximity means how physically close or how many interactions you have with the individual. Your high school friends are really far away. You might not even be in the same city. You don't see them every day, so there's no physical proximity. You also don't interact with them as much. You're not sending them as many messages. You're not posting on their walls because that's not a thing anymore. And so because of that, you lack that proximity, and so you're socially unattractive. The third thing is others' opinions. So research shows that we like people who like us back. So if we don't show the love to our high school friends, they're not going to feel it. So we no longer, as I said, like their posts, send them messages that often, so they're not feeling that love, so they don't find us attractive. The last thing is physical attraction. Unfortunately, that's not relevant today because you make friends based on physical attraction, but when you unfriend people, it's usually because of some personal or dispositional characteristic. So then, besides these 4 factors that help you figure out whether someone's attractive, you also have social norms that you have to conform to. So according to the social learning theory, we learn things by looking at other people around us, by imitating the behaviors of people around us. So for Facebook, that's our newsfeed. When I scroll through my newsfeed, I see people I most often interact with, and those are the kind of things I kind of imitate. So if someone in my newsfeed posts too many caps and people get angry, I know that's a bad thing. For example, we all know that using all caps in messages is a big no-no, and messaging people repeatedly is even worse. And another thing is unpopular posts. You see, all those people saw that post, but no one liked it. So these are huge social no-nos, and I know this because of my own newsfeed. However, my social norms and rules aren't the same as my high school friends' social norms and rules because we don't have the same newsfeed. So when we interact with each other, we might break each other's rules, which may lead to unfriending. So then, what can we do? All of you are sitting over here laughing at my jokes and nodding along as if you really understand what I'm talking about. So what is really weird is that you, the victim of unfriending, are just as likely to unfriend people as well. So we all know what it feels like, and yet we still do it. Why? Turns out that unfriending is part of the social media package. It is kind of like growing up, where it's inevitable and a rite of passage. So Facebook already knows this, which is why Facebook never sends you a notification when you get unfriended, because Facebook knows that you're being unfriended because you're changing. You're changing because you're growing. You're growing because you're becoming the best possible version of yourself. And that, my friends, is something worth losing friends for. Thank you.